Yo, what is going on, you unrealistic Umbreon? Today we're playing some games with Mewtwo box. Still probably my favorite deck to play around with in standard right now. Still just a ton of fun. The list has not changed. Still Henry Brand's exact 60 that he used to win Perth Regionals. I don't know if it's perfect, but it works well enough for me that I haven't felt like I need to change anything. So yeah, that's what we are playing with today. Some games with Mewtwo box. List is the same. Let's get into some games. Okay, we're into our first one here. We are going first, or we did win the coin flip, and we will opt to go first. Open the Mewtwo. We have Data Change available to us. We don't necessarily want a Data Change because we have a Research in hand, and Researches can be a little bit tough to come by, and kind of our only draw supporter, so we don't really have to play it. I don't think I will, actually. I think we're just going to go with the Rainbow here. I'm going to Quick Ball away this guy. I think we're going to be using ADP in this game, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the ADP right now. And yeah, we definitely don't want to put Dedenne in play if we don't have to. Get rid of the ADP. And I'm just going to grab Indeedee here. Looks like we're up against Nuzzle. Haven't seen this deck in a while. Going to go ahead and hit up that Watch Over on our Mewtwo and then pass over to our opponents. So we're looking for that GX attack with ADP. Yeah, I've not played against a Nuzzle deck in a long time. It's been a long time. Very fun deck. I haven't tried it out since the release of Sword and Shield myself. Looks like my opponent is a big fan though, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see if there's any really drastic changes. Quick Ball is definitely very good in the deck, that's for sure. I would imagine definitely want to add Quick Balls to the deck because all you really need to find to get the Nuzzle engine going is that Mimikyu. All right, that changes things for sure. Losing this Mallow Lana is gonna hurt quite a bit. We do have the Indeedee to protect some of our Mewtwo's damage, HP, whatever. But yeah, the Shrine is gonna hurt. Not a huge Snuggly generator there. There's the Rat top deck, which will be really good actually. And yeah, I'm gonna research here. I'd rather research than Data Change on the turn most of the time. This hand is not ideal. It's fine though. We can we got ADP in the discard pile already. Can do that over or watch over, not overwatch. Attach the Aurora, discard the Vileplume, and then just go into that Altered Creation. We're still fine. We'll take 2 more Shrine hits. They could hit us. See, the thing is, they can hit us with a Raichu reasonably hard, and that's something that Indeedee can't heal us out of, which means then we're just gonna get not knocked out, but like taken care of. So next turn, we're actually gonna try and knock out this Mimikyu with the probably use the Massive Bloom with Snivy-Sor. I'm going to use the Tag Call next turn. They're going for the Nuzzle, paralyzing us. We do have the switch, though. So we should be able to pull off this play that I want to pull off if all the pieces are in there. If we have the Snivy-Sor, we can switch into Snivy-Sor. Guzma Hala for the full effect. No Guzma and Hala. Ooh, unfortunate. All right, let's take a look at the deck real fast. What do we have in here? Some cool stuff still. We could get into the Xerneas, potentially. We did top deck Research, so now we definitely want to use the Research. I actually think we don't want to take any of this. Let me take a look. Our Air Balloon was prized, so we wouldn't have been able to pull off that play I wanted to pull off. So we do have a switch. Could just switch into another Mewtwo actually, and I kind of want access to the third Mewtwo, and then we can just play the Research, or we could play the Caitlin and Cynthia and grab that Mallow and Lana. That would also be fine. And do that right now, but I think the Research makes more sense to just utilize here. So yeah, we're gonna put this down. I am gonna bench the I don't want to lose the Snivy-Sor, so we're gonna bench it. We're hoping to find a Swell here. Oops, I was supposed to heal with Watch Over first. Oops, I completely messed that up. Supposed to Watch Over first, definitely. No Swell. That is definitely annoying. Yeah, no Swell is no good. But we still can use that Chuck Away for 2 prize cards here. Yeah, this guy was supposed to get healed. That was a big mistake. Now I might not be able to attack with this next turn, and I'm going to want to. So here we go. Chuck Away. Probably get rid of these 2. Seem like the most useless. They could put down a GX that we want to take care of. Yeah, supposed to heal this with the Overwatch. Watch Over, not Overwatch. Watch Over. Didn't do it. Not good. You should do that. Got to switch. We can Quick Ball for another Mewtwo to use Chuck Away. But it depends what they attack us with here. It looks like they're maybe just trying to stall it out. So we could just once again go with that Chuck Away game plan. Could use the Caitlin and Cynthia. Or Cherish Ball first, find something to get rid of the Caitlin and Cynthia. Get back that Mallow Lana so we can full heal one of these Mewtwo's to Chuck Away a 3rd time to close out the game. But here comes the Raichu. We could actually knock out the Raichu if we can get Mewtwo and the Zigzagoon actually, and we could just knock this out. I really want a Chaotic Swell here. That's what I'm kind of feeling like I'm missing here. start with Cherish Ball. I think we would want to like thin out the deck here. I don't think there's anything we want to keep in this deck. So I'm going to grab this. We could also attack with the Xerneas, which seems fine. So we could just go with the Xerneas this turn instead and save the Chuck Away play for later. Sounds fine to me, actually. We're going to go ahead and, yeah, get rid of this Great Catcher, grab the Mallow Lana. I forgot we could do the Xerneas, and then we still have access to a Chuck Away play with this guy if we want. There's the Zigzagoon for later as well. Just going to attach a Rainbow. Let's do that Watch Over thing first. Before I forget, once again, Watch Over. Let's put the damage here, actually, because I don't think it really matters if it's there. Attach here, switch into the Xerneas. But I want less damage on these guys if possible, so I can potentially heal them up with the Watch Over to get around this Mimikyu. But yeah, Bright Horns works fine here. We got that third Mewtwo, like I said. So we can use Chuck Away still on like that Mimikyu or something like that. If we can heal this guy first, heal him up with, we can go, oof, that would be a lot of cards to have, actually. We could go Mallow Lana, our Snivy to the bench, attach an Air Balloon. We could also just chuck away this depending on what they go for. It looks like this is going to be a brick overall on our opponent's side. They almost were able to get us with this guy, but not quite. Yeah, we can definitely just go Air Balloon plus Mallow Lana, and then the game will be over. So we're going to get this dub here in this first one. Mostly due to our opponent's unfortunate draw, but it got kind of close because they did have the Mimikyu. But in the end of it, we will be ending up with that dub. Getting into another one. Did win the coin flip again, so we will be going first. See what we get here. Mewtwo start. Rest of the hand, obviously, not too much going on. We could actually look to draw with the Elusive Master on our second turn once we get down to Aurora Energy. But we also have the Tag Call to draw some cards potentially. We can get Guzma Hala, which does some stuff. Like Caitlin and Cynthia is pretty good as well. So we'll just kind of wait and see what happens. It looks like our opponent is playing Baby Blounce. This is a very tough matchup, but we're going to do our best here. What we want to do is GX attack with ADP, which is here. And then we want to follow up with the Xerneas, which is also here, which is great. And then kind of go from there. So I'm going to take Caitlin and Cynthia here as well. The Big Charm doesn't do a whole ton on our Mewtwo. We could attach it. If they knock us out here, we kind of just lose the game no matter what. Like we'll be way too far behind to do anything. I think I will. I actually want to maybe put the Air Balloon on this. I think we're just gonna pass. Like if they knock us out, we're not gonna win anyways. Basically, there's no reason to put another Pokemon into play. We're just gonna go ahead and pass at this point. I think this is fine because of how far, or like what we would need to pull off on the next turn potentially if our opponent does knock us out. So there's no real point in benching another Pokemon. It would be almost impossible to win the game if they knock out this Mewtwo right now, here, this turn. So we're just gonna pass, see what our opponent actually has. There's a Flint. That's a start to getting a knockout. They do need a lot of fire energy this turn to get in one turn. Over 2 or 3 turns, really not that difficult. But if they get it off in one turn, it wouldn't be that, or if they get it off in 2 or 3 turns, it wouldn't be that ridiculous. Getting off in one turn would definitely be unexpected. I don't think it's gonna happen, but we'll find out here in just a bit. All right, there's the pass. Is exactly what we want to see to give ourselves a chance at this game. Just give ourselves a chance. It's a rough matchup. It's a rough one. Gonna start with that Caitlin and Cynthia. Get rid of that Rat because he's in a essential part of us to be able to get knockouts here in this matchup. There's that for the Xerneas next turn. Gonna go ahead and throw down the Aurora Energy. Get rid of the Greninja. Bench the other Mewtwo now, and then I'm gonna go ahead and Altered Creation GX. That's it. Hoping to go into the Xerneas next turn, offset the prize trade from our opponent, just going knockout Mewtwo, have him force me to get to the Xerneas, and then what we want to do from there is chuck away with a what's it called in play? Chuck away with a Zigzagoon, because we'll get 10 damage on it with the Zigzagoon, and then 210. Actually, I didn't check for the Zigzagoon. He might not be in the 210 with the Chuck Away, and then Chuck Away knock out a Jirachi after we bring it up with Snivy. And that is our full game plan. Or we don't have to Chuck Away after that turn, actually. We can just knock out whatever their active is. So it kind of depends on how our opponent does. They're taking the Zacian here, so that's super good for us. That means our opponent doesn't have that great of a hand. Yep, not that great of a hand. This is looking pretty good. Let's see what we can put together here on this turn. There's a switch. Do have the Quick Ball that we can use to get rid of this Guzma and Hala. I will Dedenne change this turn as well, I think. So we're gonna do this, Get ourselves that Xerneas. Zigzagoon is here. That is also good. So we have entered the turn where the game all of a sudden looks pretty good for us. Get into the Xerneas. Could also just go with this one and use Chuck Away. But then if they knock us out in Great Catcher, we're in trouble. So we can't risk Great Catcher, I feel like. A lot of Blound decks do play Great Catcher. So I feel like we can't risk it. We want to go like this, put the damage here, because then Xerneas stays at that extra energy that they need to knock it out. Yeah. Throw a Big Charm active here. Active. Doesn't really matter. Then we throw it here. Quick Ball or Cherish Ball. Grab that Dedenne like I was talking about. Oops, not Snivy-Sword. We might not want Snivy-Sword later, but not right now. So we got that turn 3 combo we're looking for. We know the, what's it called, is also in the deck. The Snivy-Sword, the Zigzagoon. I'm going to go ahead and research here as well. We just want to keep digging deeper for better cards. A Swell will be really good. Got the Quick Ball to get the Zigzagoon on the next turn. And we're just going to go ahead and Bright Horns for the knockout. Take out this Jirachi. Draw ourselves 2 prize cards. And set up to win the prize trade. Yeah, if they whiff an attack here this turn, or no, if they whiff a knockout on one of our Mewtwo's this turn, not an attack. If they knock out our active, we don't care. If they whiff a knockout on a Mewtwo, which they probably will, we kind of just win the game the way the prize trade is set up. We will just win. There's an Oricorio. They're going to get to draw some extra cards. That's fine, though. We're okay with that. Dance of Tribute is okay with us. We don't really care that much about them getting off the dance. Stadium Nab coming up, but we got the Chaotic Swell, so no matter what stadium they grab, they're not going to be able to utilize it this turn. And yeah, so we've set up to this game. Usually a pretty tough matchup, because usually by turn 2, they can get a knockout on something like a Mewtwo. Like, that's not that ridiculous. And especially if they go first, they have 3 turns to pull it off, to set up all that energy. If they do get it, we're in a really bad spot. They didn't get it, though, so it let us get into the Xerneas. So, but we had to go first. We had to not whiff an attachment of a Aurora or a Rainbow, because it needs to work with Xerneas with that Bright Horns with the Triple Fairy. Because if we had attacked with Mewtwo this turn, they could have knocked it out pretty easily. Probably to their 3rd turn to be able to build up the hand. They got some draw with Oricorio. They would knock out a Mewtwo, and then we lose all of our energy in play. We could have switched to a different Mewtwo, I guess, and used the Chuck Away and then use Xerneas that turn. But then if they have a Great Catcher knockout, we once again still lose. So now we go into that Chuck Away KO here. I'm gonna send up, I think I actually want the one with the Big Charm to get knocked out. Feels a little bit better. Got the Snivy-Sword for later. I'm gonna go ahead and attach to the, we're gonna attach to the Mewtwo. Quick Ball away the Flygon. Grab the Zigzagoon. We're gonna put the Zigzagoon damage on our opponent's active. And we're also going to bench the Snivy-Sword. This gives us like maximum protection for... We have multiple different routes to close the game now. We can attach to Mewtwo and just use something like the Mist Slash or the... he's not in here, but we could get the Vileplume into the discard pile and use that. We can now send up Snivy-Sword, use that Shining Vine ability, bring up this Jirachi, then knock it out with Chuck Away with either of the Mewtwo's. And if they have a Great Catcher and they do chase the Snivy-Sword, then we can just attach the energy here, like I said, and use one of the attacks on the Mewtwo. So we pretty much checkmate our opponent at this point. When we get the Xerneas play off and then they knock out the Xerneas, the game is basically over. There's nothing they can do to pretty much win the game anymore. The game becomes over at that point. As long as they don't have like back-to-back Great Catchers for our Mewtwo, we pull off the Zigzagoon play, and then we set up this board state where it's kind of impossible for our opponent to do anything at all. And we've done it. We've set it up. It looks good. And we're gonna be able to get this knockout on the whatever we want next turn, basically, and our opponent can't do anything about it. Yeah, there's nothing they can do. Drew pretty well. Our opponent gets the turn 2 knockout, so we're just kind of going through the motions here, waiting for our opponent to concede, basically, and then we'll win the game from there. Bringing up the Blound, the Fireball Circus. Like I said, they're gonna knock us out, but that's fine. There's a Fire Crystal. There's another Fire Crystal. Knockout is on the way, but I've already broken down why it doesn't matter. So we're just waiting. We're just hanging out. Here comes the Circus. Finally got their... I guess they knocked out the Xerneas. Second knockout. First relevant knockout. Knocking out the Xerneas just isn't relevant. And yeah, gonna send up the Mewtwo here. as soon as our opponent draws their prize cards. Going to attach, and we're going to miss slash and draw 2 prize cards, because that wins us the game. There we go. Get that dub over the baby Blacephalon, and that's it. Let's get to the next one. Alright, getting into one final one here with the Mewtwo box. See if we can win, what is it, three coin flips in a row here? Looks like we did, and we will go first again, because there's no reason for us not to, and not as good as the past ones. We don't know what we're playing against, so we might want that Zigzagoon. It's okay. Yeah, we'll see what our opponent, hopefully have some idea of what our opponent's playing as they flip over their card here. Probably just going to default to go into that, ADP is prize. I was going to say default going to ADP. Not this game, though, because ADP's prize. So our game plan has to revolve around the Solgaleo-GX now, which isn't like a bad thing, just not optimal, I don't think. We'd ideally rather play around the other guy. So I'm just gonna grab 2 Mewtwo's here and probably discard one of them. We only ever really need 2 Mewtwo's, and we don't ever want to really put 2 in play until we know we need the second one. I might want to use the Zigzagoon. I might want to keep the Quick Ball. So I think we just pass here, see what our opponent's playing, and then choose to Dedenne change next turn. We could also just switch Dedenne change now. That also feels fine, but I think I'm just gonna pass here. I'm pretty confident we'll be able to get a Solgaleo and get it into the discard pile. It's also possible we top deck a Solgaleo or a Cherish Ball and then can put it in the discard pile that way. So that's also fine. That would also be a fine way to go about it. Yeah, we could also just find a Solgaleo off our top deck and then quick ball it, then Dedenne change, and so on. There's a giant hearth, so that's going to help a ton for getting the Solgaleo in the discard pile. Actually, there's a treasure, so it looks like it is Mewtwo, this is actually a matchup where we want to put the we want to use Solgaleo actually, because we want to get our weakness card energy in play onto Mewtwo, which we now have the second Mewtwo. So this is actually going to turn out to be pretty good for us, the way it's playing out and the way we want to kind of tackle this matchup. I guess this is like fine. The way it's going right now is fine. We want to use the Solgaleo. We want 2 Mewtwo in play, so I'm kind of happy we have this Mewtwo still sticking around. We can just put it on the bench. There's a 3rd Mewtwo in the deck, so if we really need that later, we got him there too, but probably won't utilize it. We don't need the Zigzagoon regularly in this matchup, so letting him go is also fine. So yeah, we're setting up just fine here. The Hearth in play, like I said, really good for us, because now all we need is a Cherish Ball or a Solgaleo, and we don't need an extra way to discard it. Ideally, we probably still find like a Professor's Research or something to play on our turn, but it's like not ideal to combo that with Solgaleo now or anything like that. So looking pretty good, They have yet to hit their Welder for the turn. They haven't played a supporter at all. They're starting to get some of the dudes into the discard pile. The Lopunny is pretty scary. I might actually, yeah, the Lopunny is just kind of scary. It can hit really hard, really fast. So if we have 4 GX Pokemon in play, they will be able to one-shot a Mewtwo with Lopunny. So I feel like we should probably, we could set up Indeedee as some protection for that. We could just not put a second Mewtwo in play. I think I'm going to opt to just not put a second Mewtwo in play. Here we're going to grab the Dedenne, Dedenne. We could also set up Indeedee to hit whatever they set up with Indeedee. If we can find Indeedee, we got to find Indeedee as well, though. All right, here we go. Gonna grab the Dedenne. I'm gonna switch. This means I think I'm gonna attach to the. This does not feel good no matter where I put this energy. It feels like. Yeah, them getting Lopunny is just, or them attacking with Lopunny just seems so realistic next turn that feels tough to pick what I want to do this turn. I think we're just gonna go for it. I think I just gotta kind of have to go for it here like this. Do have those 4 GXs in play. Like I said, we are trying to avoid that, but it feels unavoidable. Could be wrong. We're gonna get that Solgaleo. We drew a weakness guard energy, which is actually pretty bad. So yeah, we have 4, so they're hitting for 300 with the Lopunny. So opening the Reshiram definitely hurting us here. Gonna grab the Caitlin and Cynthia, and the Guzma Hala seems like the most versatile card. Yeah, go ahead and use the Caitlin and Cynthia, discard that Solgaleo. Can still use the Giant Hearth if we want to. Got another tag call here, just gonna go ahead and play it. I'm gonna get Mallow Lana and the Snivy Source, so we can potentially be aggressive with the Snivy next turn. And I think that's it. Can't even use the Giant Hearts because there's nothing I'd want to get rid of. So we're just going to go ahead and use that Soul Burst GX. Yeah, do it. I'm going to get the Weakness Guard energy, and I'm going to get the Rainbow to Aurora and a unit. I think I'm just going to take everything here. Yeah. Weakness Guard, going to put on the active so they can't. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe. Well, we have the other Weakness Guard for this guy next turn. Rainbow to the, I guess, the Reshiram. Aurora to the Mewtwo. We definitely want another energy on the Mewtwo. And then Aurora to Reshiram. And unit to Reshiram. So we can Flare Strike, I guess, if we want to. It doesn't feel great to Flare Strike, though. So I don't even know what our game plan is going to be at this point. It doesn't feel great, simply because the Lopunny is going to be hitting us so incredibly hard on the next turn. And there's nothing we can really do about it. So that feels kind of terrible, actually, to be honest. Feels pretty rough. But we'll figure it out. Probably won't be the worst thing ever. We'll come up with some kind of game plan here, I'm sure. Just gotta figure out what it's gonna be and how we're gonna go about it. It might just involve our opponent whiffing Welder, to be honest. That might just be what we have to kind of look for to happen here. Is just our opponent whiffs Welder, and we kind of just take advantage of that. And sometimes you have to just kind of hope your opponent whiffs. And it's not the worst thing in the world if your game plan revolves around your opponent whiffing. And it looks like they did, and then that's what we're going to take advantage of. Bench the Snivy. Gonna go ahead and switch into the Snivy. Gonna use that Shining Vine, bring up the Mewtwo, and our best attack to knock it out, I guess, is just kind of the Rocket Splash, but that's fine with me. Switch into the, I guess we could have got the, nah, saving the energy seems better. Yeah, switch into this Mewtwo, and then just go ahead and Rocket Splash, take back 1, 2, and I think I'll take 1 off the active, actually. I think I want the Aurora back. And yeah, that's 180, which is ×2 because they're weak to Psychic, and that's the knockout. Feels pretty good, man. As we take out our opponent's Mewtwo, we are short an energy to knock out their next Mewtwo if they do get a Weakness Guard on it, though. So maybe I should have like left the energy on the Snivy instead, but then if they get the knockout on this Mewtwo, which they definitely couldn't, although they could with the Lopunny play, yeah. So maybe keeping it split up is better. I don't know what attack I would use next turn anyways to kind of slow them down. I guess we just have to hope they don't hit the Weakness Guard. They might not even play the Weakness Guard. That's also pretty possible. Some people just don't play it in here. Usually the Weakness Guard exists in the Welder Mewtwo deck. Usually it's in there because it's just really good to not have Psychic weakness right now. Or in general against quite a few decks, so having that option is just really nice, but they might not have it. Might be able to take advantage of that. There is their Welder finally. Welder decks only finding Welders sometimes. Yeah, they can one-shot us. They got the Lopunny. What else do they have in here? Yeah, they can one-shot us with the Lopunny. Nothing else really. Yeah, just the Lopunny, but they do have that option. And Weakness Guard energy works for the attack cost. Here comes a Cherish Ball. We'll see what they grab. Probably gonna be, yeah, the Rat. Bring the Dedenne in here. Dig for that Weakness Guard energy. There's a Stealthy Hood. That doesn't change anything. A Skateboard. All right, the Jirachi can move. There's a Great Catcher. So they're going to get rid of my Weakness Guard energy Mewtwo here, which makes sense to me. They usually play 2 Great Catchers, so we can kind of play around that on our next turn if we want to, by like sending up Dedenne and then just passing with the Dedenne in the active if we have to set up more energy in play. Here comes a Reset Stamp as well from our opponent. Our Cherish Ball got an Aurora energy, got the ADP, so we can attach, and then we can Dedenne change if we want to. Here comes the, okay, no Weakness Guard energy, so we got this one wrapped up on our next turn. Did have to get a little bit fortunate in this one, I feel like. We had to have our opponent whiff Welder, but sometimes that's just what you have to play, and you have to be like, well, I need my opponent to whiff, I need my opponent to not draw optimally. That's what we played into. They didn't, and we're going to take full advantage of it here as we attach this Aurora, discard the ADP, and then knock out our opponent with that Rocket Splash. And that'll be it for this video with some games with that Mewtwo box. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did enjoy the games, as always, give the video a like, enjoy the content, be sure to subscribe, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Have a good day. Thanks for watching, and peace.